My brother stalked my girlfriend, but my family took his side, so we disappeared and cut them off for good. So, my girlfriend Sophia, who's 25, came over for a family get-together, and things got really awkward fast. My brother Ethan, who normally isn't like this, started acting super aggressive towards her. He basically pushed our mom out of the way just so he could get the first hug from Sophia, and he hugged her so tight she had to peel herself away. During dinner, he kept making excuses to touch her and made these weird inside jokes, even though they'd hardly met before. He kept trying to sit right next to her, pushing past me like I was invisible. The final straw was when he tried to feed her from his fork while staring intensely at her. Sophia was clearly uncomfortable, but she kept it polite since it was her first time meeting my family, and she wanted to make a good impression. Ethan spent the night telling embarrassing stories about me, twisting them to make me look bad. He even made up this wild tale about rescuing my high school girlfriend from some imaginary emotional abuse, which never happened. Sophia knew these stories were all fake because I'd already shared my teen years with her, but my parents just went along with it like Ethan was preaching the gospel. After dinner, things got worse. Sophia offered to help clean up, trying to be nice. I was in the garage helping my dad when I realized I hadn't seen her for a bit. I found her stuck in the kitchen with Ethan blocking her way. He had her cornered at the sink, telling her she deserved someone more exciting than me, his supposedly boring older brother. He was way too close, with one hand on the counter beside her hip. Sophia told him to back off twice before I stepped in. When she saw me, she looked relieved and quickly came to stand by my side. Ethan just laughed it off like it was all a big joke, but Sophia was visibly shaking. Sophia and I have been dating for around 8 months, and everything was fantastic until Ethan began messing things up with his compulsive behavior. I guess to get why Ethan is like this, you need to know a bit about our family. We grew up in a small town in Minnesota with parents who work in real estate and are pretty well off. But they always cared more about appearances than real family bonds. Ethan came along when I was 3, and he was always the golden child who could do no wrong, while I was somehow always at fault. Growing up, Ethan did some messed up stuff which my parents brushed off. When he was 6, he wrecked my game console because I wouldn't let him play whenever he wanted. Instead of punishing him, my parents bought him his own and said I should learn to share. At 12, he killed my pet hamster by giving it chocolate, knowing it was poisonous, but my folks said it was my fault for not taking better care of my pet. In high school, he spread lies that I cheated on my girlfriend, which led to us breaking up, and my parents said he was just looking out for her. This behavior didn't change as he grew up. Ethan still lives at home, works at my dad's real estate firm, and does whatever he wants. He's ruined every serious relationship I've had. With one ex, he convinced her family I had a gambling problem, which was untrue, and told another girl I'd cheated on all my exes, which was also a lie. My parents either defended his actions or told me I was overreacting. When I met Sophia, I decided to keep our relationship a secret from my family for the first 3 months to protect her from Ethan's usual antics. Sophia's amazing. She's a smart and caring pediatric nurse at the local hospital. We met by chance in the hospital cafe while I was visiting a coworker who had surgery. We got talking over how bad the hospital coffee was, and eventually, we started dating. I've been open about my family situation with her because I wanted her to be prepared. She was the one who encouraged me to give my family another chance, saying things might have changed now that we're adults. One of her best qualities is her ability to see the good in people. I eventually agreed to introduce Sophia to my family at a dinner party last month, and that's when everything started to unravel. A few days after the dinner, Sophia began getting bizarre calls and messages from unknown numbers. At first, it was heavy breathing or quick hang-ups, but then the messages started getting creepier, calling her stuck up and cold for not choosing a supposed better option. Some messages even included specific details about her work schedule and what she wore, which made it clear someone was watching her. At first, Sophia didn't notice, but then she realized some voices were eerily familiar. So, some of Ethan's high school buddies are basically still his little crew. They hang out with him and do what he says because his parents keep his pockets full. When Sophia blocked their numbers, they just started calling from new ones. Then, his pals started showing up at the hospital. They pretended to be visitors but spent too much time hanging around where Sophia works, making sure she could hear their obnoxious comments. Last week, one even followed her to her car after her night shift. She was totally freaked out and called me, crying in her car because she was scared to drive home, worried they were keeping tabs on her. I had to go pick her up, drive her car home, and had a friend follow us to make sure we weren't being tailed. Sophia's starting to have panic attacks before her shifts now, and her coworkers have noticed something's not right. Yesterday, I finally gathered enough dirt to confront Ethan. I had voicemails, screenshots, and security footage from the hospital showing his friend stalking Sophia. I went to our parents' place where Ethan still lives and laid it all out for him. He just sat there with this smug look, claiming he didn't know what I was talking about, and then had the nerve to say that if Sophia wasn't such a spoiled brat, no one would need to teach her a lesson. I lost it and punched him in the face. He started screaming like a drama queen over a little nosebleed. Our parents rushed in and, of course, freaked out at me, not him. They didn't even look at the evidence I had. Mom flipped out about her poor baby boy being attacked, and Dad just kept accusing me of being jealous and insisting I needed anger management. When I tried to explain the harassment, Mom claimed Sophia was probably flirting with Ethan and now playing the victim, and Dad told me to get lost until I apologized and got my act together. So now, I'm at Sophia's place. She finally managed to fall asleep after crying her eyes out, terrified of going to work tomorrow. Her boss has been cool about it so far, but there's this worry that if things get worse, she might lose her job. Sophia loves working with kids in pediatrics, and it's really unfair she might have to give that up because of my jerk of a brother. I'm totally out of ideas here. Ethan keeps surprising me with how low he can go, and our parents are just enabling him, making me and Sophia feel like we're the crazy ones. The cops won't step in until there's more clear-cut proof that Ethan's behind the harassment. Sophia's scared, her job's on the line, and my family's acting like we're causing all the trouble. Has anybody else been through something like this? How do I protect Sophia while dealing with my toxic family? Should I try harder to document everything? I could really use some advice. I'm at my breaking point. Update 1. First off, huge thanks to everyone who chimed in on my last post. Reading all your responses really hit home how serious this is. Sophia and I tried to do what a bunch of you suggested, like documenting everything and going to the cops. Things have just gotten worse over the last 2 weeks, and I need to vent about it. We followed the advice and went to the police. We spent hours gathering proof, like screenshots of all the nasty messages, voicemail recordings, and hospital security footage of Ethan's friends loitering around. We also got written statements from 3 of Sophia's coworkers who saw the stalking firsthand. The officer we talked to seemed worried, especially about the workplace harassment, but then things took a nosedive. Turns out, Ryan, Ethan's best friend and one of the main troublemakers, is the son of a local police sergeant. As soon as we mentioned Ryan's name, the officer's attitude totally changed. He started saying that without any concrete proof that Ethan was orchestrating everything, there wasn't much they could do. He even went as far as suggesting that maybe Sophia was misunderstanding some friendly attention from folks just hanging around the hospital for legit reasons and had the nerve to ask if she had somehow caught their interest. We wanted to speak with another officer, preferably a female one, but they wouldn't let us. In the end, they said they'd warn everyone we could identify from the footage, but that was it unless we had specific proof of actual threats. Felt like a complete waste of time. My parents' reaction was way worse than I expected. The day after we went to the cops, Ethan showed up at their house with a black eye, claiming I hit him again. I hadn't seen him since the night I punched him. So, a couple of weeks ago, I had this whole debacle with Ethan, but my parents totally bought his story. My mom was crying on the phone, saying I'd lost it and was trying to ruin Ethan's life. She thought me going to the cops was just me being dramatic over some misunderstanding. Then my dad calls, super pissed, threatening to cut me off financially, not that it mattered since I don't depend on them anymore. I'm doing fine with my software development job and my own place. He also threatened to fire me from the family real estate gig, even though I've never worked there. That's Ethan's deal. It's like they don't see me as my own person, just Ethan's sidekick. Anyway, the real disaster hit last weekend when my mom kept calling and texting, saying they wanted to work things out as a family. She claimed Ethan was sorry and wanted to apologize to me and my girlfriend, Sophia. So, Sophia and I decided to give them a chance. Big mistake. We went to my parents' place thinking it was just a family dinner, but something felt off from the start. The house was packed with my parents, Ethan, our supportive aunt and uncle, and worst of all, Ryan and 2 guys who were hassling Sophia at her job. My mom called it a family intervention. For 2 hours, they all took turns trashing Sophia while Ethan sat there looking all pleased with himself. Mom went on about how Sophia was just jealous of Ethan's looks and success, and claimed she had been flirting with him. They accused Sophia of making up harassment allegations to cover up her leading Ethan on. Sophia's name was dragged through the mud. My aunt even suggested she mistook friendly behavior for stalking because she was used to attention at work. Ethan played the victim, acting all confused and upset about the lies. Ryan and his buddies backed him up, claiming their hospital visits were purely to see Ryan's grandma. Then they started questioning Sophia's mental health, saying her night shifts were making her paranoid and how tough her job must be. My mom even suggested a therapist for her issues. Sophia tried to defend herself, showing them messages and voicemails, but they just talked over her, dismissing everything. Things got really bad when Ryan and his friends were invited to join us for dessert, as if they were showing off how great these guys were. Sophia was having trouble breathing and had to leave the room. When I tried to go after her, my mom stopped me, basically giving me an ultimatum between real family and Sophia, who she claimed was causing trouble. I chose Sophia. We left in a hurry, and I haven't talked to my family since. Meanwhile, Ethan's friends have cranked up their harassment, spreading rumors where Sophia works, making her out to be mentally unstable. Her boss, while nice enough, warned her that all this drama was affecting her work, suggesting she think about transferring. We've gotten a lawyer to try and get a restraining order, but it's taking forever. Sophia's been looking for jobs far away, and an old coworker is trying to help her out with a new gig about 300 miles away. It sucks that we're having to take such drastic steps, but I can't stand seeing her living in fear and stressed out. She's crying before work and losing weight from all the anxiety. I'm at a loss here. Sensible talking has failed, my family's crazy, the cops aren't helping, and it feels like Ethan's getting his way. How do you fight back when everyone's ready to believe the worst about you and the best about your tormentor? And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, the whole thing blew up at my cousin Chloe's wedding last weekend. I've been trying to wrap my head around everything before sharing this update. What was supposed to be a joyous family celebration turned into a total disaster, leaving Ethan in handcuffs and our family in shambles. To start, Chloe has always been the only one in the family, besides my grandfather, who saw through Ethan's facade. When we were kids, Mom caught Ethan mistreating her cat, and even though she told everyone, our parents convinced us she was just seeking attention. Chloe never forgot, and she's been super supportive of me throughout Sophia's situation. She even helped draft a detailed statement for our lawyer about Ethan's sketchy past. When Chloe sent out her wedding invites, Sophia and I were hesitant to attend. But Chloe personally called us and said that Ethan was invited only because her parents insisted, and she had hired extra security to keep an eye on him. She even seated us with her husband's family, far away from my parents and Ethan. We figured that with all the security and witnesses, Ethan wouldn't pull any crazy stunts. We were wrong. The ceremony went fine, mostly because Ethan had groomsman duties. Noah, Chloe's husband, is our cousin on the other side of the family and had no clue about the drama. Everything looked fine at first. Ethan sat at the family table with our parents while we were across the room with Chloe's in-laws. For the first time in weeks, Sophia started to relax and enjoy herself. Around 9 p.m., Sophia went to the restroom and had been gone for about 10 minutes when I realized Ethan was no longer at his table. Something felt off, so I went to check on her. Just as I was about to enter the restroom, I heard Sophia scream. I started running when Noah and his brother rounded the corner and found Ethan pushing Sophia against the hallway wall, trying to force himself on her. He had one hand over her mouth and the other gripping her arm hard enough to bruise. Just as I got there, Noah and his brother had pulled Ethan off her. Sophia was crying, her dress torn at the shoulder, and bruises already visible on her arm. Ethan, clearly drunk, started ranting that Sophia had been flirting with him all night, which was totally untrue since she'd never gone near him. He claimed she followed him, but she had been there first. Noah's brother, a cop from another city, quickly called the local police, while Noah helped Sophia into a private room where Chloe and her mom tried to calm her down. Things got even worse, if that's even possible. When the cops arrived, my parents tried to stop them from arresting Ethan. My mom was crying, calling it a misunderstanding and saying Sophia had misled Ethan. My dad even tried to physically stop the officers, saying it should be handled within the family. Ethan was alternating between claiming Sophia seduced him and making threats, yelling that none of us knew what he was capable of. As the police finally got him into the car, he started shouting that Sophia had been asking for it since they first met. Some guests caught everything on their phones. The aftermath was a mess. My parents were all over the place, calling everyone in the family to spin the story their way, saying Sophia was the one who led Ethan on and then cried assault. They accused her of orchestrating the whole thing as payback for some supposed lies she told about him. They even claimed Noah and his brother attacked Ethan before the cops showed up, which is a total lie, and that Sophia injured herself. The silver lining? The wedding video clearly shows Ethan following Sophia into the hallway, plus there are tons of witnesses and video evidence of his meltdown during the arrest. Our lawyer thinks we've got a strong case. Several relatives who were at the wedding have stepped up to testify about Ethan's behavior that night, including inappropriate comments he made about Sophia and how he followed her around during the reception. But now, my parents are threatening to cut me off unless Sophia drops the charges. They've been bombarding us with calls and messages, either apologizing for tearing the family apart or threatening to disinherit me. They even showed up at my apartment yesterday, causing such a scene that the neighbors ended up calling the police. My mom was screaming about how I was sending her sweet boy to jail, while my dad threatened to ruin my career in the state. Sophia and I decided it's time for a fresh start. She accepted a job at a hospital 300 miles away, and I'm planning to work remotely. We're moving at the end of next month. Some might say we're running away, but we just want to escape the toxicity and start anew somewhere else. Chloe understands and has promised to keep us updated on any family news. The hardest part of all this is. So, here's the deal, my family has always had this blind spot when it comes to Ethan, even after he went off the rails and hurt someone right in front of a whole crowd at a wedding. They just keep defending him and pointing fingers at the victim. I've often thought about what might have happened if someone had stepped in back when we were kids, but I guess we'll never know. Right now, my main focus is on keeping Sophia safe and building our new life far away from Ethan and my family's enabling ways. As for what's new, I honestly didn't plan on sharing more updates, but something happened yesterday that I just can't keep to myself. After 4 quiet years with no contact from my family, my mom calls me out of the blue, and I'm left feeling both justified and brokenhearted. But first, let me catch you up on Sophia and me. We tied the knot 2 years ago in a small ceremony with Chloe's and Sophia's families. We bought a house in a new area, and Sophia is now the head pediatric nurse at her hospital. I'm still working remotely with the same company and even got promoted to senior developer last year. Oh, and we're expecting a baby girl in 3 months. Life's been smooth and happy, so what happened next really shook me. Yesterday afternoon, during a work meeting, my phone just wouldn't stop buzzing with calls from Mom. I usually ignore unfamiliar numbers because my family tends to use new phones to reach out, but this time, she left a panicked voicemail. When I called back, she was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Turns out Ethan got married last year to a woman named Olivia. We didn't know because we hadn't kept in touch since that wedding incident. Apparently, they met at church, and the family quickly arranged the marriage. Mom kept raving about how Ethan finally found a good Christian woman who gets him, and how everyone was thrilled, until last week. Last Thursday, Olivia's coworker called the cops after she didn't show up at work for 3 days. During a wellness check, the officers found her badly hurt, 2 broken ribs, a busted wrist, and tons of bruises. But here's the real kicker, when they dug deeper, they found out that my dad was actually helping Ethan cover up the abuse for months. Olivia finally cracked and told the police everything. Ethan started hitting her just 2 months after they got married. Every time she wanted to leave or tell someone, my dad would step in, using his real estate connections to lean on Olivia's family over their mortgage or threatening her job security. He even convinced Olivia's parents she was unstable, all while making up lies about Ethan, just like they did with Sophia. Things went south when Olivia got a promotion at work, which would have given her financial freedom. Ethan lost it and beat her so badly she couldn't go in. When she reached out to my dad for help, he told her to ice it and remember her wedding vows. That's when her coworker intervened and called the cops. Now, Ethan's been arrested for domestic abuse, and Dad's in hot water for intimidating witnesses and conspiracy. Mom begged me to come back and fix everything, saying the family needs to band together during this crisis. She kept insisting that Ethan and Dad need my help and that Olivia was probably just exaggerating like they claimed Sophia did. That was it for me. I blew up, told her exactly what I thought about how they've been covering for Ethan his entire life. I reminded her of what went down with Sophia and how they chose to side with Ethan even after seeing him attack her at Chloe's wedding. I asked if she ever thought about how if they had helped Ethan when he was younger or held him accountable, maybe Olivia wouldn't be in the hospital now. Mom broke down, finally admitting they should have done something sooner and that they always knew Ethan had issues but thought they were protecting him by keeping it all secret. Too little, too late. I hung up and blocked her number. Later, Chloe called to back up what I'd heard from extended family. Olivia's parents are heartbroken and kicking themselves for not believing her sooner. They're fully backing her in pressing charges against both Ethan and my dad. The police are also looking into other potential victims since several of Ethan's ex-girlfriends have come forward with similar stories of abuse and stalking. Sophia suggested we reach out to Olivia through Chloe and offer to help if she needs it, which we're planning to do. Sophia reminded me of how lucky she was to have support while dealing with Ethan, and Olivia might need someone who's been in her shoes. Some might think I'm being cold towards my parents, but I've learned the hard way that supporting toxic behavior just leads to more victims. My family had countless chances to change, but they chose not to. Now, they have to deal with the fallout on their own. My priority now is protecting my own family, my wife, our unborn daughter, and the peaceful life we've built. Hey everyone. So, a bunch of you have been asking what's been going on with Ethan, my dad, and Olivia lately. Buckle up, because it's been a wild 6 months. First off, some great news. Sophia and I welcomed our little girl, Isa, into the world 3 months ago. She's adorable, healthy, and just perfect. Being parents has been amazing, and it really makes me glad we cut ties with the toxic parts of my family. Chloe and her husband visited last month, and watching them with Isa showed me what true family love is like. Now, on to the not so great stuff. Chloe has been keeping us in the loop with what's happening because she's still in touch with some of our distant relatives. So, Ethan struck a plea deal last month. He's looking at an 8-year prison sentence for some serious domestic abuse charges, with a possibility of parole in 5 years. My dad's case is dragging on, though his lawyer is trying to work out some sort of settlement. His real estate license is on hold while they investigate, and it seems like most of his business buddies have ditched him. The biggest shocker is my mom. After a tough phone call we had, she started therapy. Chloe says she's moved out and filed for divorce from dad. Last week, she sent me a 12-page apology letter. She owned up to enabling Ethan, not protecting me, and the way they've treated Sophia. She even admitted they turned Ethan into a monster by not holding him accountable. I haven't written back. Part of me respects her new awareness, but it feels too late. Like, where was she when Ethan was acting out as a kid, or when he was harassing Sophia? Or even when he caused a scene at Chloe's wedding? Sophia and I are talking about whether to let her see Isa under supervision someday, but that's way down the road, if ever. As for Olivia, she came out of her shell through Chloe. She's living with her sister in another state, going through some intense therapy, and has filed for divorce. She's also cooperating fully with the prosecutors. It turns out there are more women stepping forward with allegations against Ethan, including a couple from his church, and the cops are looking into those as well. Olivia's parents have really stepped up. They apologized to her for not believing her sooner and have cut off my parents. They're even working with domestic violence groups to help other families spot the signs. Our family's pretty split right now. Most of the younger crowd is on our side and Olivia's, while the older folks are still making excuses for Ethan and my dad. Chloe's mom, my aunt, has even started a family therapy group to help figure out how things got so bad and how to make sure it doesn't happen again. Sophia and I? We're just focused on Isa and our own lives. Sophia just went back to work part-time and got promoted to director of pediatric nursing. I'm still working from home, but I'm thinking about starting my own software consulting gig. We've built an awesome community here with great friends and our chosen family. Sometimes, I think about reaching out to my mom or replying to her letter. But then I look at Isa and remember how my parents would probably want me to let Ethan around her if we were still in touch, claiming he deserves another shot. That thought alone reminds me we did the right thing by cutting them off. The cycle of cruelty and enabling stops with me. Isa will grow up knowing what healthy relationships look like and understanding boundaries. Keeping toxic family out of our lives is hard, but it's the best thing for her. Thanks for sticking around to hear my story. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe and tap that notification bell to keep up with more shocking real-life stories.